Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Odd Ones. Today, my beautiful wife over there, Lara, and I, Bjorn, are going to be reading about words of affirmation, the one thing I'm terrible at. So, Lara, before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe.
And hit the bell, maybe.
And also, go check out our Patreon. We just made a really fun video.
Don't give them that.
So go check that out.
My feet might actually be showing right now too. So I know.
No way, Jose.
Pink. That is not what the thing is, unless you'll pay for that. And then I'm just kidding. That sounded really terrible. I was basically like shaking a cup out of the corner.
Pay for my feet, please.
Okay. Sorry if he does not zoom into him. And I feel like based on the previous setup, you guys probably came into this video with me just staring at you because I just love you.
Oh yeah, no, I with our videos, I try to keep it just like on both of us at all times.
It might be borderline creepy. Roll with it, guys. All right, so we are actually now into the first love language.
I don't know if I said this at the beginning, but this is episode 7. So
wow, we are really giving you guys a brief overview.
You are shocked every single time I say the episodes. Like literally, you're like, "Are we on episode 1?"
You should have a compilation of that, like the shock and all. Right? Immediately, I thought about that video with oh my gosh, what is the wrestler's name? That is all the.
Oh,
that one.
Why'd you sound like somebody from Banjo-Kazooie?
Oh, I don't know, but that's
you're talking about Macho Man Randy Savage. Anyway, I'll let you lead this one, okay, Laura?
All right.
And I'll chime in whenever I can. This is her favorite, and this is one that I'm worst at. Well, was her favorite.
I don't even know anymore. So, 5 love languages: words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, gifts, and hang on, this happens to me every time. This 5th one.
Here. It's on your paper.
Is it?
You have words of affirmation, quality time,
physical touch,
acts of service, and
acts of service.
Touch.
That's it. I forgot the one that has usually hit home with me most, other than this one. So, words of affirmation, pretty straightforward. Affirming words, they were straightforward till today. So, words of affirmation are your way of telling your spouse that you love and appreciate them. You're affirming them, that their feelings matter, they matter. And that used to be my primary, and not just my primary, but like most of the pie. Primary.
Number 1.
Yeah. I think we mentioned this in previous episodes that it's probably due to upbringing or preference, you know, obviously. You have got some bullet points here. And the first one is say nice things to and away from your spouse.
Before we get into the bullet points, I do have to say, to me, my opinion, why I think words of affirmation is probably the hardest is because compared to all the other ones, this is the one that is, unless you're doing notes, this is the one that is not tangible. So like gifts, you touch all these things. Gifts, acts of service, you interact with people, physical touch, and quality time. All of these are very much, I am interacting with this out in the real world. So whenever you're very analytical like me, it does make it, and not just fine. I have to work on this. I mean, that is just the thing. But it does make it harder to realize, oh shoot, I haven't said, she's beautiful today or whatever,
Yeah.
Your eyes got super wide.
Well, first of all, I was in shock. I didn't realize there was another side to it. So you'll see that, when you go back. But I think when we talk about words of affirmation, that it's not just about the physical appearance. And I know that's not what you were saying.
No.
And it could be something as like, I love you. For you, I know when you hang up or you leave, I'm going to hear I love you. And it is that comfort to me. But then sometimes you get in a routine of saying it. So they're really heartfelt words, I think is what the gist of it is. And so let's talk about not when you're together, but let's talk about when you're not together. So say nice things to and away from, to what? To and away from your spouse.
I feel like we've talked about this one before. I can't remember. So we'll just go over it again. Say nice things to and away from your spouse. So,
I mean, we technically have a few times. talked about this.
No, I mean, I think it's a literally in the video, but we'll cover it again because it's all under the same umbrella. And maybe I just had you read it.
It
as
was a
like the end
teaser.
thing. Yeah. So this one is pretty straightforward. And I'm not saying for any of this, again, because it's intangible, it's very easy to manipulate this and make it into like, oh, I'm gonna say nice things away from her. So people think I'm just like this good husband or that she's a great wife, but actually both of us are crappy at home. So what this means is while you're interacting with other people,
Mhm.
an example that came to my mind is your mom.
Mhm.
Anytime it's just me and her talking, I'm talking about you and doting on you and things like that, and same thing, vice versa. But this also happened at work the other day. You dropped off a energy drink for me, and one of the coworkers there, she was like, "Oh, your beautiful wife dropped this off," and I was like, "Oh my goodness, isn't she so sweet?" and things like that. And what happens in those cases is your spouse will go back and that person will say, "Oh my goodness, your husband loves you so much." And he said, "You're so beautiful," and all this other stuff. And sometimes, whenever you're in that mundane, everyday, it's, oh, you hit all the check marks. You hit the "I love you" in the morning and at good night, or good night at night, and you hit the one "I'm beautiful" or "You're beautiful" every day. Hearing this from somebody else is like, oh, okay, he actually means this stuff. Like
Mhm.
he's not just saying it to fill me up. So that's saying nice things to and away from your wife. I mean, obviously the other one is saying things, to your wife as well. Say nice things to her or, to your spouse, should I say, because they like to hear it.
That is true. I used to,
Unless you're like me, who does not do well with compliments.
you're getting better though.
It's because of this book.
Um, you know, I always fed on words of affirmation. I think childhood things led to it being my primary. I really did get hung up on the fact that, it did feel like hitting all the marks. You tell me before you leave on the way to work. And then you would tell me when we hung up on the phone. I would just call you so I could hear I love you. That's not true, but I was
Yeah.
just thinking how strategic that could have been. And you're not really one to say I love you before bedtime.
Mhm.
But
Now, just to clarify here,
mhm,
normally we don't go to bed till like 3:30 and
fair.
we're passing out because we're exhausted. So
That is true. I have heard so many times, he loves you so much. Like you hold all your words of affirmation till I'm not there.
yeah.
And you tell everybody. And like, oh, I love when people are like, I just see the way he looks at you. That to me is real love. But no, if you're going to crap talk, but that won't come back. So, say nice things also means don't say mean things
Yep.
because you're going to give the perspective of whoever you're talking to. Maybe you guys got in a fight. Maybe he didn't put the toilet seat down. I don't know. You're exceptional at that. I've never had that problem,
It's
but
because a long time ago, whenever you're raised by a single mom
mhm.
and she falls in the toilet X amount of times, you're getting tired of being yelled at. So you just get really good aim and keep the seat down. The whole time that we've been together, I don't think I've ever put the seat up.
He's bragging on his aim, but give the viewers a good tip if they don't have good aim.
You just wipe the seat.
There you go. There you go. Anyway, so saying stuff to and from your spouse, make it a positive thing. Otherwise, people are going to think that you got a really crappy spouse, and that's not going to feel good either. That they're crap talking you behind their back.
Here's the thing with that too. I didn't even think about it. If you're crap talking your wife or your spouse, should I say, that's your person. Like you're gonna go home to them. They're gonna find out about it, and they're an extension of you. Like
Right.
if everybody thinks that your wife is crappy, they're gonna be just like, well, they just have a terrible relationship. Why doesn't he leave? And so obviously there's a reason why you're not leaving for one reason or another. And if it's due to you just having kids or whatever, you need to go to a marriage counselor. And if that doesn't work, then you need to come up with something else. But if it's just because, oh, she's a bad cook or whatever, then don't don't go telling everybody that, oh, my wife is such a crappy cook. Look at this bologna sandwich. She burnt that too. You know, just keep it to
That was
yourself,
my
man.
mom.
Oh.
I didn't. I mean, no, my dad. No, I'm not saying that. She's not my wife.
I'm just kidding.
I had to eat that food. No, I'm just kidding. Mom, you've done a great job if you're watching this. So,
Oh my goodness.
No, I think if you're at the point that you're crap talking like that, and it's like we all have friends.
Yeah.
Though you need to make sure that your friends are going to be people who hype you to make the right choice. But if you're reading this book, you're probably in one of two spaces. One, you're trying to improve your three spaces. One, you're trying to disprove it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the narcissist handbook, but I hear that.
Yep.
So maybe it's four. Or you have a desire to work on your relationship, or your relationship is headed out the door, and which it really is, you having a desire to work on your relationship. So if you're working on your relationship, don't say things. Again, if you start off the relationship that way, that's going to be really hard to undo that.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, also on talking crap, just like, it's hard because it's like, I do recommend talking to your friend, like you were saying, but make sure it's somebody that is there with a listening ear and not trying to fix, and start the conversation with this. Hey man, I'm just trying to vent. Or hey girl, I'm just trying to vent.
Really good point.
And by the way, speaking of hey girl coming from me, don't ever, ever, ever go and talk to the opposite gender, or, you know, if you're same sex, don't go talking to somebody that you can develop feelings for, or anything like that, because they are going to set you up to fail. So if you have a guy friend, say, hey man, I'm just here to vent. Whoops, I dropped my little fidget thing. And I'm going to have to get that in a second. But anyway, just tell them that you're here to vent. And
I just had a vision of you going down the Mario pipe and then coming back up.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, and just have them have that expectation of that's what you're here to do. And it's okay, Larry. You don't have to try to get it with your feet. And hopefully they'll understand, and they'll be able to, you know, be there for you and things like that. But if you don't have any friends like that, go to BetterHelp, get a counselor.
I need that hype, because BetterHelp is the whole reason I got a new perspective today.
Yep.
But yes, go to BetterHelp. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. We're not sponsored, but I might as well. I might as well be.
No,
as much as I talk
about.
Right, exactly. Don't cast your pearl before swine is a saying that's what I always think of. Like, if sometimes we ladies gotta let it all hang out. Oh no, he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We can all do that. But if you are really wanting to work on things, the oh no, he didn't friend is great, as long as they know. But yes, you will go back home.
Yeah.
And anybody who's trying to hook you up with another man or not tell you to work on your relationship beforehand, if they don't give you this book, then.
And just keep in mind that, oh no, you didn't, girl.
Right.
Whenever you get kicked out because you're breaking up with your man, or you went and cheated on your girl, that person's not going to be there for you. You're going to have to go find a house of your own, and you're going to have to go live in a hotel for a couple of weeks because you don't have a place of your own.
Maybe she's a real one. You don't know. You don't know. Anyway. All right. So the next thing is don't compliment, then complain in the same sentence. Save the negative for its own conversation, or say, and I think it's funny you wrote it that way.
What is it again?
The irony, really. Not the irony, but the irony is the word I want to use. Save the negative for its own conversation.
Mm-hmm. Well, just keep in mind, not many of these are written this way because I wrote them this way. This is bullet points straight from the book, the best I could. I was working and writing at the same time, so some of them are my words, but this really is straight from the book. So don't complain, then don't compliment, then complain in the same sentence. Save the negative for its own conversation. So I just had to reread that for myself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, that one's kind of self-explanatory. Don't, if you're going to compliment somebody and, you know, say you come home from work, the wife the wife has cleaned up the kitchen and it looks immaculate, and then you go in the bedroom and she's taken off the bedclothes off
I
the.
knew, and I immediately thought, oh crap,
Yep. But you know, she's taking the
bedclothes.
bedclothes off the bed. Come in there and tell her, hey, you did a great job on the kitchen. Leave that there. Don't mention the bed sheets. Even if you go to bed without any bed sheets, don't mention them.
Oh, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
And then, you know, a few hours later, whenever they're, you know what, this is a perfect way to have this conversation. And this is something that I should have did earlier. As we're making the bed together, say, you know, I really appreciate the fact that you did this, but next time, not the but. Let me back up a little bit because but's a bad word around here, okay?
Unless you're backing it up, literally.
So you're making the bed.
I'm
going to have to figure out how to word this, words with it. And you say, I appreciate the fact that you wash your bedclothes. Next time, can we wait until, or can we do this earlier in the day so we don't have to be up so late making the bed or go to bed without, you know, bed sheets or things like that. So I complained. It was a soft complaint. You know, it wasn't me being over like too hard on her or anything like that. And I did not come in the door saying, oh, you know, the kitchen looks great, but now I can't go to sleep without the dang bed sheets. It comes off a lot less brash. It comes off like you're not being a jerk, like, oh, thanks for the compliment, buddy, you know.
Compliment sandwich.
Yeah. So I think that's good.
Because most people get hung up, and that's what made me kind of laugh about it. Save the negative for its own conversation. For someone who loves or needs words of affirmation, and particularly if they didn't get that growing up, when you are giving them feedback, and you did an excellent job wordsmithing, because what you didn't notice that you did was you brought a solution to the table too. You told them, hey, here's the issue. And then you made it a we. Can we do X, Y, Z? So you didn't blame and then give them a solution without them asking for it. You provided something that you would help with. 10 of 10. Following his footsteps, ladies.
Ladies, what about the men?
Oh, I don't know where ladies came from.
Following his footsteps, because the guys aren't going to get it.
I did not say that, but that is funny. The negative part, if you put that anywhere, like you could do the compliment sandwich. You look really great today. Those shoes are something, but nice pants. I don't know what you said before that. I don't know what you said after that.
Yep.
And I think people have actually been taught to compliment sandwich.
It's just
it's wrong.
Yep.
Like bad news travels more than good news.
Yep.
So there's a time and a place though. I don't think you should not, like you said, not say it, because those things are important. But if it's detrimental, absolutely, you got to have that conversation now. Like, you know, the kitchen looks really great, but, you know, I just saw the guy sneaking out the window. I don't know. I was just trying to think of an extreme. You know, you locked the keys in the car and now I'm going to be late for work. You're not going to say it in the tone I'm saying it in, but you might feel that way.
Yeah.
You may have to have something, what I'm saying is a swift conversation. But that compliment will go a long way. And if you, not for manipulation tactics, right? But if you tee up the plate and you've already hyped your girl or your man, because he could very much have words of affirmation, they're going to take that complaint or negative much better.
Yeah.
Especially if you say it right.
Honestly, I'm trying to think. I can't think of really any examples of like where complimenting then complaining, like the complaint needs to come so fast. Like the only thing I can really think of is like if you're about to go out and it's like, this isn't really a complaint, this is really helping somebody, but like, wow, you look sexy, but you got something in your teeth, you know, it's not really like complaining per se, that's more helping. But so I can't really think of any real good examples of where it's like this situation essentially. I don't want to really drone on about it.
That's a good one. Okay.
All right. So Lara just had a wardrobe malfunction.
It's the squirm the whole time.
Yeah.
I wonder if this was actually written from this perspective. and I can get this. Not saying that you ever had this intent. I heard in my head, gosh, Marcia, I don't know. You are always leaving my lunchbox out, or you're never making my food, or, Billy, you don't ever take the trash out, pick up your clothes off the floor. Can't you just help me around here? Maybe he's gone out and worked all day in the heat and you're at home with the kids and you're just like constantly what some people would say nag, right? Or you're making these overtly sarcastic remarks, and that's the complaining. And then you never say anything positive, right? Maybe I thought of it as a strategy that if you're trying to say something positive while you're in the middle of doing what you normally do and working on it, remember, you can't like go in there with that positive and it matter at all with the negative.
Yeah.
But again, it's about how you say it. And so on that, the last little bullet here, if someone compliments you, just accept it and say thanks.
Yep. That was something I worked on in the last video where you complimented me and I wanted to revert back to my neutral, which is, oh, thank you, but you do this too. Like you're also great at this thing. I'm not good at just accepting a compliment at all. I have confidence issues in that standpoint, so it makes it really hard for me to hear those. Or I have like body dysmorphia, so it's hard for me to hear compliments about how I look and all these different things. So that's just something that I have to work on a little bit at a time.
What he actually says is, I do my best.
Yeah, that's another one.
And the same tone every time. Or I try. I don't think you really say I try, or that's my job.
No, I try as I try. I don't do not the.
I try my best. There we go. It was those two together. I try my best. I think you not being able to take it, right? Not saying thank you is a rejection. And I think you could talk to that because in the beginning you were, and again, we were in the puppy dog stage. People need to remember that may not always stay. And I had a really hard time with the fact that you would dote on me or tell me you love me. You would do all those things. And it doesn't have, words of affirmation don't have to necessarily be spoken. If it's easier for you to write it or text it, you can do that. You can schedule out text if you have an iPhone. That's not cheating because you have to sit down and actually write it. But if you continue to take somebody's gift of words of affirmation and reject it, you're going to stop doing it. And I think that that's something you had shared with me. And so for a long time, I thought that the reason that it was not the puppy dog stage was because I rejected it. Yeah. And I think with you, I had to train myself to reject it, like to not do it because it made you uncomfortable. I'm not really good at that because you are very handsome and exceptional, and I can't help but say it. It like just spills out of me. So
thanks, babe.
It's great. And you told me I look nice when I came in here, by the way.
You do.
Okay. So that's the notes that he has for that. I'm going to just share my perspective and then share something that changed my whole mind about the term words of affirmation. Words of affirmation really was my primary love language for a long time. I craved it, and for like 3 months, right? Maybe 4. When we started doing this in the very beginning, I was almost naggy, relentless, not in a whatever way, but I would just remind him I needed that. When you were saying, I'm working on it. And I would, well, what does that mean? Like, I don't see that. You saying, when you said it earlier, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised now, but that I didn't immediately think, well, how is he working on that? You don't know what leads someone to not be able to say that. They've got their own battles. Talking about that might be great, but asking them, well, what are you doing is not going to help. I needed that because I have my own confidence issues, and because you do give me feedback, and I love that feedback, but I felt like because you weren't saying positive things that all you thought was negative, right? Which is why I had that perspective on that. your love languages can change.
Mhm.
And you may find that they do change when your relationship changes. And my confidence has built up, right? And I don't feel like I'm missing that from you,
Mhm.
right? But I went on and on.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that must have made it feel really tough.
It did put a lot of pressure on me to immediately change and try to do words of affirmation better. Or also, there's times where it's like I'm saying what I think is right, but it's not what you think is right. So it's like the way I'm giving you words of affirmation isn't the way that your mind is needing to hear it.
The dinner example you gave, yeah, it was dinner. So I made dinner and I like to serve you. That happens. Me making dinner in general is not a often thing around here, but you don't really say, "Oh, this is really good." It makes a turd is the concept
Mhm.
that that we always go with. And you had complimented dinner, and I appreciated you saying it was good because I like to hear that feedback.
Mhm.
But that was your way of saying good job or thank you for what you're doing. That meant something to me, and I totally disregarded it because to me, you're complimenting the food. That doesn't okay, good, I can cook, but do you love me? Am I pretty?
Yeah.
Do you think I'm a good wife, a good mother, whatever? Um,
I want to. This really isn't part of the subject, but I came up with a funny analogy today. Uh, so me and my coworker, well, her, I cannot take.
oopsie.
Just had to check the camera.
No, I don't blame you.
I can't take credit for this by any means because she's the one that plants all the flowers there.
Mhm.
But everybody, I was helping her fix sprinklers, and everybody that walked by, all of our other coworkers and stuff, were like, "Oh my goodness, these flowers look so beautiful.
I
These
already
flowers
feel
look
like I
so
know
good."
where this is going.
And I said, or she's like, "Thanks," God. And throughout the day, I mean, this was 5 hours of her putting in some real hard work. And I told her today, I said, "I bet this is what it feels like whenever you hear people complimenting your flowers. It's like whenever you get a boyfriend for the first time and he comes up to you after a week and says, 'I love you.' And then that you're like, 'Oh my God, he said he loves me. I love him and I love you,' and all this other stuff. And then after the 100th time in the same day, he says, 'I love you.' You're like, 'All right, buddy, I've had enough of this. That's too much. Okay.' Same kind of deal.
I think there is a thing as overindulging.
Yeah. Trust me, I know that's what my first girlfriend had her friend tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went too
I
far.
don't know. I don't know if I should feel jealous over that or not.
Yeah.
Who ruined you? That's what I want to know.
I mean, it was good
So,
advice because I mean, it was like we get on the phone and it was like every other word is "I love you." Uh,
oh,
Oh, nothing. That was probably annoying. That's why she had her friend tell me that.
I mean, I definitely would be annoying too. I would fall into that classification because I do compliment you. Again, out of respect for you,
Mhm.
not because I don't think about it subconsciously, right? Every time I look at you, I am inspired, like genuinely inspired by those real feelings. Like, I think you're drop dead gorgeous. I think you are incredible. And it's like my heart is so full. Like, there's no amount of other languages that even though that's not tangible, I already buy you within reason that I can. Like
I don't know if y'all see me over here squirming. She's complimenting me. It's like,
but it's not disingenuine. And
no,
I
I
know the
know.
meaning. And I think that at that young age, I would assume that you didn't know the meaning, but maybe you did. I don't
Yeah.
know. Um, there is a thing where you can overdo it.
Yeah.
Right. And it does become uncomfortable. And you're just
Mhm.
like, all right, I get it.
All right, enough, buddy.
It's the thank you, right? Thank you so much for that gift.
Yeah,
Oh, you're so welcome. Seriously, thank you so much. And I felt that with one of our kids before.
I'll give you a negative version of this. Whenever we first met, the kids knew everything. Apparently, they knew literally everything. They did not need to go to school. They not nothing. They would say, "I know, I know," I know, so much. And I remember they said it and I just broke. I was like, all right, you don't need, you don't know. Just don't say that word anymore or that phrase anymore, please.
I wish I could have seen this family dynamic in that context and what kind of like the level of irate. No, you don't know.
Yeah,
that you would have got, because it's a whole different ball game now,
Yeah.
right? And they don't say I know anymore, thankfully, but I
Let's
would have
put some
enjoyed.
context behind that. Specifically, Lyric and I, we will get loud just because we think it's funny.
Right.
And also I think it allows her to get some steam off. But so yeah, we would have got real loud and
I know.
no!
I had to text you today because you guys were going back and forth. I was like, I can't think, please. All right. So all that to say, I no longer I would even consider it to say I was warning, but maybe it came across as threatening. But I tried to express that I knew that you, for what I needed at that moment, you're trying, I couldn't tangibly understand. And I felt like, well, if you were that uncomfortable with it, then do I just need to not like change my love languages? Like, can you do that? Can you change how you feel loved? Is that going numb? Is that dissociating? I didn't know, but I just didn't want to feel that void that I felt, because you do give me feedback, and it became very hard to feel like I was worthy of something because I felt like all you were doing was telling me what I was doing wrong. Again, fast forward, maybe it was dissociation. I'd like to think not. I'd like to think that I've come to know your words of affirmation and the signals that you give to me, because that's what you have to do. But they do not matter in the same way they did before. Do I want to hear them? And you do, when you do, yes, absolutely. With our particular shift, I don't need to hear that I'm beautiful. And there are other things that you can say that are just as meaningful and they go a lot longer, right? So this might, if you read this book, look completely different in 6 months, a year, or 2 years. Who knows? Today, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
As humans, we are meant to evolve, I think. I mean, just in the time that you and I have been together, I have gone from, being a gamer guy to watching Wrangler Star and freaking trying to do woodworking. And now I'm Bjorn, total name change, total persona change, all this different stuff. And yeah, so it's the same thing with the love languages. It's like, I don't know, mine are what again? Quality time and physical touch. I mean, those two are still important to me, but it's like, if you need to go and do something, or if we don't have the ability to do quality time, then am I heartbroken over it? No, because I know we'll make up for it at some later date, So
it goes back to the tangible thing, though. Are you going to, if you have a words of affirmation person, then you have an endless supply of words for the most part, right? Are you going to make up for it later if you forgot for a week to tell your wife that she was beautiful, or that you loved her, or affirmed her? But this is a way that if you're doing the work right now, as a couple, as an individual, and as a couple, that I have found that you affirm me, is, I think the book was talking about it from a perspective of positive words, right? In counseling with BetterHelp, I said I'd come back to that. They're amazing. If you need to talk to somebody, they have video, they have text. I was looking at you like you've been with me. They have video, they have text, they have a phone call option. There's plenty of ways. They have a financial aid application that you can fill out. I would suggest doing it, because part of the book is really helping you learn to communicate, but you might be failing in your relationship to communicate because you got stuff internally that you need to do. So no matter how much the two of you do this work to meet each other's love languages, if you got some deep stuff, you're not going to be able to see that.
Yeah. Let me touch on to be better. to be better. I do that every single time.
That's the better.
The
Duh.
BetterHelp. Try to find somebody that has a affiliate link for BetterHelp. We don't have one right now. As soon as we do, trust me, it'll be on here because, you know, obviously the people get a kickback for that, but you also get a certain discount for using those kind of links. So try to find somebody, if you're really serious about this, that has that. I know Steve-O on some of his podcasts.
You're talking to me.
Anybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's how you got started, was watching Steve-O and he talked about it.
What you're saying to them, I thought you were making notes for. Sometimes I'm not always right. You're saying that to get a discount, you can. So if I can actually leave a link below, and if you are nervous to try it, if you don't know what to expect, if you can commit to 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, that's 2 appointments, an appointment a week, going in there, and you could change therapists as many times or counselors as many times as you want. They do not prescribe medication. They would refer you out, but they are licensed counselors. And if you hate the first one, move along.
Well, before you say that, and I want to get back to your notes after this. So first of all, you have a code. It's not an affiliate link, but you have a code that gives them a discount.
It gives them 2 free weeks.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Right off the bat.
That's really cool. Lara, whenever you first started,
I know. I knew.
you did not like your counselor, and now you love her.
I don't remember, honestly. Nikki, if you're watching this, she knows I love her. I was talking today about how, like, the progression that I've made in just a year. And I can't believe it's already been a year, but it is. I can't.
I think you didn't like her because it wasn't her. It was the fact that she was making you do the work. And,
I don't remember this.
And the I guess maybe even the authority, like, oh, you need to kind of do your homework and do things like that.
I don't remember this. So, Nikki, you can diagnose me with whatever this is if you're even watching this. I wonder if she even can. Anyway, it has been a game changer. It is hard. It is not fun to go in there and dredge up stuff, stuff, depending on what you've got to do. But everybody's got something. And sometimes it's just nice. I will go in there and literally just celebrate the week. Like, oh, I did this thing. And I was like, pretty much a normal person. Or I remember the tools that you gave me. Or I would have something that I did that I didn't know was because of XYZ. So, yes. Link below. You guys can get 2 free weeks. What I think you're saying is don't just leave somebody after the first week because you didn't, unless they have a really annoying voice. Well, maybe you could do the text option. So we were talking about the recent dynamic change between you and I. When we read this book the first time, this was months ago. I mean, I've read it years ago and had started rereading it up to, I got to remember what chapter, but just like the love language changed, our relationship changed. And you have, and I have both worked on ourselves independently. You started reading that book independently and other books, and I was going to counseling. And through that, we have both learned a lot about ourselves and a lot about emotions and talking with one another, but controlling ourselves, knowing who we were as people. Because it doesn't matter how much of the 5 love languages you have. If you are dealing with hair trigger temper because you're overstimulated or you're depressed or it's just part of who you are, doesn't matter if you're doing all these things if a little something sets you off. When you do all that work and you as 2 human beings are able to sit down and express your emotions in a healthy way, in a loving way, that to me, those words being exchanged are affirming. Where you'll listen to me and I'm doing it respectfully because I've done the work. And you care about what I'm saying. And you're able to be heard because I'm not getting offended or whatever it is. I'm looking out for the words of emotion. I feel, even if you may not use the words that I'm used to. What happens then is just as affirming as being told I'm beautiful, being heard, you know?
Yep.
So, words can build you up and they can destroy you.
Oh, yeah.
Let's build one another up. And really, speaking of uncomfortable words of affirmation, there's nothing hotter to me than when you're able to articulate how you feel. So, and men aren't really
Almost
given.
did it.
I know. I saw it on your lips. And men aren't really. This is not a whole, but traditionally speaking, have not been able to express feelings in the
Yeah.
same way. BetterHelp will help you with that, or get a wife who's
Well,
in BetterHelp.
Luckily, the world is shifting. People are allowing their boys to say what they need to say. There's a fine balance between
That's the truth.
being overly emotional and being overly logical. And it is our responsibility as parents to teach that in our children
Mm-hmm.
and allowing the moments to happen. And to also understand as parents that young children, they don't have the tools to express how they feel. And that's why they get frustrated. Teenagers, they have terrible hormone swings and different things like that make it where it's harder for them to comprehend and then also articulate what they're trying to say, sometimes even more than the kids, because they have like little kids, because they have more things going on. So be patient with them, allow them to vent, and ask them, hey, are you venting or are you needing me to help you with this situation right now? And then, eventually they'll plateau and you'll be able to have deep, meaningful conversations with your children as much as you do with your spouse.
I just realized there were definitely points in time where I was a raging teenager with us. Doing all this work, whether it's the 5 love languages, going to counseling, just having this dialogue and communication with your spouse. If you have kids or you want to have kids, you are they're in a journeyman with you, right?
Mhm.
You have to teach them those skill sets.
Yep.
Emotional management and regulation, critical.
Mhm.
Critical to working when you get agitated with your boss and you are like, I just want to go home. Well, you can't do that. How do you
Yep.
handle those feelings? Or they get into a relationship with a young man or woman and they, spill it all over them because they haven't learned the ways to properly say things
Mhm.
or to come up and say, I feel I need to vent.
Yep.
Right. They're lucky they have somebody who asked that question.
Mhm. And you teaching them those tools
Mhm.
will allow the spouse that they might have later on, or the boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, in the future, that'll allow them to have the opportunity to vent, because now your children understand the difference between, hey, I need a problem fixed and I need to vent, which is also a problem that needs to be fixed with silence. Um, so yeah, I mean, if you're teaching your children these tools, most likely the person that they're going to be with won't have these same tools. And so, it'll give them the opportunity to teach somebody else, and your legacy will continue.
Or you vet every person that comes into your kids' lives. Do you know this?
That too.
You have to go through a course. But
Yep.
we hope that do you have anything else? I was just rolling with it.
No, I think that's it as far as it goes.
I really appreciate you guys. I almost said love you guys. Words are powerful. And maybe if you've hung out and interacted through all these episodes,
Mhm.
and you can always go back and do that. We can have a very quick relationship if you guys like. Start from episode 0.5 and come to now.
Yep.
But I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. And even if this is only a legacy channel for our children, right?
Yep.
And they can cringe and be angry at us when we're we're not going to a nursing home, by the way. But
Yep.
this stuff is stuff that I wish I had known, and I wish somebody had come back and told me.
Mhm.
And I wish I knew that things can change,
Mhm.
that people can change. And Next time, we're going to talk about quality time, which is something I need to work on as you talk about words of affirmation. Was it ordered this way
I
in
think
the
so.
book?
I think
I
so.
couldn't remember.
Yeah. I mean, I followed it down the list. So, Larry, you want to read the next question to leave everybody else on, or not question, but statement?
Sure. I'm laughing because it reminds me of like, if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, where you just, you had to deal with the pain and then you get to feel good the next time and validate it. And then I go next.
Yeah.
So anyway, men are fixers. Ironically, talking
we
about
just had that
problems. Yep. In a conversation, listen, don't fix. Wow, we were ready for this one. I think this might have gone up under the other one. Anyway, this isn't quality time though. I think that maybe the notes got out of order. Would you say that's quality time? I mean, you have to spend quality time listening. This is key for work talk, meaning work talk too, meaning try not to fix all your spouse's work problems. That was personalized right there. So there were times when you wrote this that I was in a work venting all the time. Not healthy to do that all the time. And I just wanted you to listen. I didn't have the tools in my tool belt yet to say that. But so maybe we're going to come back and talk a little bit about quality time and this.
Well, how the book is structured is they'll go from one subject into the next and have things that kind of intermingle. So I think this was part of that. This one and then the don't interrupt. Both of those kind of go hand in hand into the quality time situation, because
Yeah,
I mean
sure.
you can't have quality time without words of affirmation, because you're going to be communicating, whether it's through body language or through physical, I mean not physical touch, but body language, and also audible language. So
Well said. All right, guys. Again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button below and the bell that may or may not exist.
Yep. And as I think this is going to be our new outro, unless we come up with something better. Stay a little odd out there, guys.
I like that. I like it better when you say it, though.
You go ahead, try.
Well, this chair has the whole time made me look odd because I've just been shifting in it in my pants. So do it again. Let me hear you say it, because words matter.
All right, everybody, stay a little odd.
I can't do the eyebrow thing. Hang on.
You don't have to do that.
No, I want to try. All right, everybody, stay a little odd. Nope.
There you go.
I tried.
All right, we'll see y'all later.